All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is Friday. Happy Friday to everyone out there. January 10th. We have a 7-game NBA slate to dive into in today's video. Like we always do, I'm going to dive into each and every one of these games. I'll give you my prediction on the side. I'll give you my prediction on the total. We'll talk about any other plays like player props that we like within the game as well. But as always, guys, keep an eye down on the pinned comment of this video. That'll take you to my final plays, so I'm actually rolling with myself. If that does interest you, that'll be down in the pinned comment, absolutely free. In terms of how we did yesterday, a 5-1 night. Now, before we jump to celebrating, we do have to provide some context here. Like, that looks a heck of a lot better than it actually is. The Timberwolves play, so those bottom two green check marks, we split a half unit. So a quarter unit on the Timberwolves -4.5, and then -6.5 for plus money. And then the top three check marks, we had half units split between 3 plays as well. So it isn't as like an amazing of a night as it looks. It is 5-1 from a win-loss perspective, but it realistically is more like a, half unit win there, a half unit win here, and then a quarter unit loss with that same game parlay. So yes, a profitable night, but those are not all full unit plays. So wanted to provide that context. I probably could just fake it and be like a 5-1 night, let's go. But that is not the case, all right? What is the case, and what is the good news is that we may be starting to, and now I'm probably jinxing the heck out of myself here, but we may be starting to pick up our feet a little bit and go on a little bit of a run. So last night we only have that one loss, right, regardless of the unit amounts, and then the night prior to, we had a good night as well. We had one loss there, so technically win-loss wise, we're on a 9-2 run over our last 11. Let's see if we can keep that going. You guys can always fade me if you'd like, but let's go ahead and dive into this video, guys. Our ride of the day unfortunately does not come through. We got to drop the womp there on Joe. Grady Dick, over 2.5 rebounds. I liked this look. You can even see that graphic in the graphic, kind of an inception here. All of those green bars were him cashing this thing as of late. I think it was like 7 straight, 8 of his last 9, something like that, or 9 of his last 10. But Grady Dick only has, 1 rebound last night, so that is unfortunate. We got boned by... Don't want to say it. Guys, if you don't know what the ride of the day is, just go ahead and use that hashtag ride of the day in the comments. Give me your favorite play. I jump on board with one person's play each and every day. Give you a shout out in the next video, win or loss. If you win, we continue to ride with your play. If you lose, unfortunately, we do have to drop a womp. We do have to talk about it there. We also post it over on our Twitter/X, which will be popping up here throughout the video. And we also post it with the final plays over on the Guy Boston Sports site. So go ahead and get your favorite plays in there. Hashtag ride of the day. You can also use hashtag ROTD if you like, but you have to use the hashtag. I see a ton of people just saying ride of the day, play X. Hashtag is how we search for it. So to qualify, you need to find it. It's also got to be inside -150 odds. But all right, what do you say we jump into this slate? Like I've been saying, I feel like a broken record. There's some good spots and some ugly spots here. Unfortunately, we're kind of starting off with an ugly spot. Philly taking on the Pelicans. But guys, hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. We'll go through the good, bad, the ugly here on the show. So hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. Philadelphia taking on New Orleans. Philly 4-point favorites. This Pelicans team, I don't really know what to make of them. They're so injured that, I can't really get a good beat on them. I've been saying for a while that even when Zion's healthy, I don't know if, him and DeJounte Murray, McCollum, and Ingram are all guys that can kind of really mesh. Unfortunately for them, we haven't even really had much time to see if that's the case. Now, Zion is listed as good to go in this one, but now DeJounte Murray listed as questionable. You flip it over to the Philadelphia side of things, Embiid out, Lowry out. We just heard that McCain is going to be out for season, right, which is massive. Paul George listed as questionable. Drummond out. Like, their entire lineup is seemingly either out or questionable as well. So 2 teams definitely dealing with some injuries. I know I mentioned DeJounte Murray, but Brandon Ingram still out. No Herb Jones in this one, or Trey Murphy for the Pelicans. So it's like you're literally combining these 2 teams and you have like 6 or 7 starters that are out as of right now. So this is one that I most likely don't touch. I think I ultimately just lean towards the home team in Philadelphia. They took that win against Washington. They realistically should have smoked Washington, and they were up by a bunch. You look at the box score, 109-103. Yeah, Washington ended up coming back. Corey Kispert hit like back-to-back threes that were huge momentum drivers and whatnot, but Philadelphia realistically was winning by a lot there. So maybe, just maybe, Philly can handle some of these bad teams Would I put my life savings on it? No, but that is going to be the lean here for the video. Philly -4. Total sitting at 221. I don't really see the efficiency on either side of the offense. This season right now you have Philly ranked as the 25th offensive efficient team, and then the Pelicans the 28th. So though I don't love either defense, I think I'm going to lean towards the under 221 here. And then from a player prop perspective, I guess I would just consider CJ McCollum. I don't mind his over points plus assists. If DeJounte Murray plays, I like McCollum to be able to now pass to Murray and Zion. In Philadelphia, they don't have the best above the break three defense. Over the last 10 games, you're allowing over a 40% field goal percentage against two opposing players. That is where CJ McCollum is going to shoot a lot of his threes, right? So his three line right now, I think is at 3.5. If he makes a few of his threes, then we're kind of cooking with fire heading into his points plus assists because he's going to have a little bit of head start. So that's what I'd look at. But like I said, guys, this is not exactly, I wouldn't say this is one of the best matchups on the slate today, just being transparent. All right, Orlando taking on Milwaukee here. So Orlando looks like they are getting back. At least there's been discussion. So we've seen Paolo Banchero. He's still listed as questionable, but there's been a lot of talk about he's going to try and make his return here on Friday in Orlando, which is a massive, massive upgrade to Orlando's team. They've been so injured. Obviously, Banchero first to go, then Franz Wagner, then Wagner's brother, and Gary Harris has been out. And then all of a sudden, the last week or whatever, week and a half, Jalen Suggs missing games. So it's like this team has just been decimated by injuries. On the Milwaukee side of things, definitely some stuff to look at here. Giannis, Lillard, and Middleton all listed as questionable. If those three play, sure, I'm glad for the Magic fans that Banchero's coming back, but I like the Bucks in this spot. Very similar to why we like them against the Spurs, I guess, and the Bucks got the job done when they won by 16 against the Spurs. When you look at this Magic defense, they are a very, very good defense. I will say that, but if Milwaukee can kind of get things going from deep, that's a tough team to beat because obviously they have the constant of Giannis being able to take it down low, right, and be able to score, but Brook Lopez, Damian Lillard, AJ, like these guys being able to hit some shots is going to be absolutely massive because then you take a slow-paced team like Orlando, and whether or not they're playing good defense that entire game, it's hard for them to keep up with a Milwaukee team that is now running and making shots. And you throw in the fact, and we'll jump into the dashboard to show you this. This is a spot that I love as well. Milwaukee, who's going to be a team that loves to isolate, right? 7th highest frequency rate, 5th in terms of effective field goal percentage, and then 7th in terms of score percentage. Score percentage also accounts for foul shots kind of converting off of isolation. Look at this, Orlando, and though teams do not really, isolate against them, we saw that against the Spurs as well. They do have good numbers against it, but how much can we trust that if teams aren't isolating against them, right? Giannis should be able to, at least in my opinion, get into the paint, potentially get fouled, and steer the ship in the right direction. And I've been saying it for, I don't know, a month now, that this Milwaukee team will click at some point. They'll keep going, and their defense is right there, like even back in the dashboard. And by the way, I'll take 2 seconds in a little bit to tell you guys how you can get access to this dashboard, but let's go through what I want to share first. Look at this. If we just look at offensive and defensive efficiency, okay, fine. We have 2 good defenses, but only 1 good offense, right? Like, so this thing's screaming Milwaukee to me. I would say, having it at 5.5 is I'm a little weary of that. I've seen a 6 out there as well. If I were to make this a final play, I'd probably look at Milwaukee and kind of like we did with the Timberwolves last night and the Suns, right? Kind of take some alternate lines and potentially look at them -4.5, -3.5 before that line moves. So we are paying a little bit more juice, but by the time that line closes, that 4.5 is going to be even more valuable. Hopefully that makes sense. So yeah, I just like Milwaukee to be able to score from both levels, which is going to be tough for Orlando to kind of keep up with offensively, even if Orlando's playing good defense. Total sitting at 209. This Milwaukee team's pushing the pace. We can say that, right? They scored 121 against the Spurs, and Orlando's defense, though I really do trust them, they are on a back-to-back here. We haven't even mentioned that yet, right? And in back-to-back situations, I don't know how much I trust tired legs, especially if Milwaukee's going to run. So slight lean towards the over here. Now, with that being said, I did lean towards the over yesterday against Minnesota, right? And that was a 104-89 game. The total closed at 199.5 and still hit the under. So take what I'm saying here with a grain of salt. In terms of player props, nothing incredible, I guess, jumping out to me right now at this point. But if we do add anything, it'll be in the final plays, and I'll give you a little blurb as to why I like it. Now, I mentioned gaining access to this dashboard. It is super, super simple. Over on GuyBostonSports.com, you head over here. This is what our final plays page will look like, by the way. That is yesterday's. All you have to do is head over to the member section of the site here. You click, sign up, log in. If you're a member already, great. You head over to NBA Dashboard. This is what you will see. This will be updated in a few minutes for current members. By the time you're watching this, it probably will be updated. And you get this awesome PDF. And I say awesome because it's great. You could print it. You could take it out. You can blow it up. You can zoom it, and you have every single game broken down from what I consider all of the crucial stats in a visual format. So this thing saves tons of time for me too. Like, I'm not just giving this to you guys. Like, this is literally what I am using to start my research on all of my plays. So I think it's a really, really cool tool, guys. You have every single game broken out, each and every game. Like I said, this is yesterday's slate, but this will be updated in the next 10 minutes or so. If you are not a member, you're going to head in here and it's going to look just like this, which I think is self-explanatory, right? It's going to come in and be like, hey, you need member access. You can click view membership levels and pick whether you want the all sports membership, which has NBA, NFL, and MLB when it comes around, or you could just do NBA for the rest of the year or NFL for the rest of the year. Those are the prices there. So head over there. Once you do log in, you're going to see, obviously, like I said, you'll be having access to the dashboards, and you'll probably stay logged in as well. So we also have a quick breakdown video if you guys do want to go ahead and check it out. Again, GuyBostonSports.com. Appreciate everyone in the Discord and whatnot saying like you could be charging a lot more for this. $5 a month is like one cup of Starbucks, right? But my point is that I want this to get out to more people. And obviously we're not selling picks or anything like that, but I want this to get out to more people versus making like a quick buck on it. You know what I mean? Like, obviously a lot more time and effort goes into that than probably getting $5 per month. But I think this is such a cool tool that I want you guys to have access to it while monetizing it to some degree, if that makes sense to you guys. Hopefully it does. But anyways, I'm rambling at this point. Let's get to the next game, all right? Indiana taking on Golden State. And I have so many things that I feel like a broken record, but Golden State, I don't exactly know if they're the easiest team to read right now. They're on a back-to-back. They beat Detroit. If you guys did not see Cade Cunningham's fake foul shot off the rim, they actually had a chance to tie the game with like 4 seconds left. He is so good. His coordination, his accuracy, like, I know that's a weird thing to be infatuated by. Like, did you see his fake foul shot? But he threw it so that it hit the tip of the top of the rim, bounced off the backboard, came back to him, and he passed to the corner. Simone Fontecchio missed a three, but the refs blew it dead because they thought it didn't hit the rim. The announcers didn't think it hit the rim. Steve Kerr didn't think it hit the rim. It hit the damn rim. So, yeah, I mean, I just thought that was, as being a basketball nerd, I thought that was an amazing, amazing play. Anyways, clearly this is going to be a video in which we ramble a little bit, huh? But we got Indiana taking on Golden State here. Indiana 7.5-point favorites. I'm not sure if that number makes sense, but at the same time, they've won 7 of their last 10 games. They've covered in 7 of their last 10 as well. At home this year, they're 10-6, right? Straight up. In terms of covering, just 46.7, but in reality, this Indiana team has kind of been like this in terms of what type of basketball are they going to play. Are they going to go out there and run, or are they going to be a non-efficient team? They're starting to kind of come around. They're the 7th highest team in terms of offensive efficiency so far this season. They're scoring from in the paint. The one thing that worries me is Golden State's actually been a decent paint defense this season. But overall, even, if we look at it in the last 10 games, they've definitely lessened a little bit. So I will ultimately, I think, lean towards Indiana. I just don't know if I'm comfortable with, 7.5 points. This may be a spot in which I try and target a weak spot for Golden State's defense, which potentially could be from 3, so targeting someone that may take some threes, and then throw Indiana money line and rock with like a same game parlay. Because again, 7.5 does seem like it's just a little bit too much. It is, I mean, the people making these lines obviously think that that's a strong spot for Indiana, and I do agree, right? Golden State on a back-to-back, Indiana here at home, Indiana playing good basketball, but I'll also throw in the fact that, Indiana's last 4 games, Miami, Phoenix, Brooklyn, and Chicago. Now, you can make the argument, well, isn't Golden State maybe in the same realm as those teams? Potentially. But either way, I'm not exactly sure where to come out, confident-wise. I will say that this is a spot in which I really am not minding an overlook. The Pacers, I want to say they're going to keep pushing the tempo, right? 128, 126, 113, and 129 has been what they've been scoring. But I already mentioned it. Their defense is kind of sort of starting to pick it up. So maybe a Pacers team total over could be the look here to be a little bit safer. But big things to note as we go through. Now, I expect these guys to play. Halliburton played last game, even though he's questionable, but Halliburton's questionable and Miles Turner's questionable. Miles Turner did miss last game, but I'm more concerned with Halliburton in terms of being able to push the pace and whatnot. So, yeah, I would target some guys maybe from the perimeter for Indiana, as well as them on the money line in the same game parlay. But I don't hate the idea of just saying, hey, just bet it. Maybe Indiana team total over, so we don't have to keep harping on it in a sense. All right, one of, if not the best matchup of the night here. We got New York taking on Oklahoma City. OKC's coming off of a tough loss against Cleveland. Prior to that, they had won like 14 or 15 straight games. New York just got back in the win column. They had lost 3 straight games prior to that, and they had just played in OKC maybe a week and a half ago. They lost by double digits, so yeah, kind of a revenge spot potentially for the Knicks if you do like the Knicks. The one thing that I'll say is that Karl-Anthony Towns still banged up. He's questionable in this spot, right? I don't exactly have all the confidence in the world in this Knicks team if Towns isn't at 100%. They kept that game to 10 points last time they played OKC, and they had all 5 of their starters in double digits, and they barely got anything off the bench. Listen to this. They had Bridges for 24, Brunson 22, OG Anunoby 20, Josh Hart 19, Towns 17, and then in terms of bench scoring, they had Landry Shamet 2 and Precious Achua with 3, and Cam Payne who played 8 minutes of 0. So the starters just got all the run in this one, and that makes sense because Deuce McBride was out, which he's actually listed as questionable here, which would be pretty big. So if they're bumped and bruised and banged up, I don't see how a team like the Knicks can just play their starters 48 minutes and expect to keep up with OKC, who's going to pound you down low and everything like that. Pause. I just don't see why the Knicks are only 3-point dogs here. It's a little bit of a trap kind of spot in my mind because, again, it's hard to beat a team twice, but give me OKC minus the 3 points. We're leaning a lot of favorites so far in today's video. Yikes. But anyways, I do think that OKC should be able to score kind of at will in the paint. In terms of paint scoring so far this year, they're the 12th best team, and they're going to elect to score in the paint a ton, right? The Knicks, though they've gone up and down in terms of a paint defense, last 10 games here, nearly a 72% field goal percentage against. And you throw in the fact that, Towns might not play. It's like they could be really, really limited in terms of their bigs, right? One thing I will give the Knicks credit for is this is a OKC team that likes to isolate a ton. The Knicks actually have been a very good team against isolation. So, yeah, the Knicks may be able to keep it close, but let's not forget we're talking about a 3-point line here. You know what I mean? The Knicks can keep it close, and it could be a 4-point game, and OKC covers. So that's kind of where my head is at here. In terms of what we have from a total, I don't mind an underlook or potentially a Knicks team total under, because that way the Knicks could even win for all I care or keep it to within 3 points. If this is a low-scoring game and the Knicks kind of are able to slow OKC down and maybe stop their isolation play and whatnot, we could be looking at a nice little spot here for either an under or, again, trusting OKC's defense, a Knicks total under. So, yeah, I don't mind that. In terms of player props, honestly, nothing that's jumping out. Yes, I would like the interior guys for OKC, but when you think about their lines, I don't even know if I'm comfortable rolling with those. Shea's line right now is 32.5. Last time he played the Knicks, he had 33. It's yeah, obviously he's a guy that you can count on. He had 26 shots, I think, field goal attempts last time they played, but asking a guy to go score 33 points just to hit an over, I don't know. It just seems like a high number to me. All right, before we do jump into the last 3 games, I want to talk to you about Prize Picks, guys. They have an awesome Play 5, get $55 deal in promo funds right now. All you have to do is, again, place a $5 lineup. How great is that? And you 10x what you put in right away. And what's cool is that if you go and hit that lineup, you still get the payout. I think that these types of sign-up bonuses are so much better than that deposit match that they used to have, which is obviously a great deal, but this is where it's at. If you guys have not tried Prize Picks yet, now is the time to do so, because I don't know how long they will be running this promo for. It's also Friday, which they'll have some promos in the app as well. Use that link down below in the pinned comment as well as the description, or just sign up for Prize Picks using code GUYBOSTON. You get this Play 5, get $50 instantly into your account. It's an absolute no-brainer. Here, what if I gave you $5 or what if you gave me $5 and I just gave you 50 right away? It's how would you pass up on that deal? You'd think something fishy is going on, right? But there's no strings attached in this case. Go check it out. Again, that link will be down in the description as well as the pinned comment. Play 5, get 50 instantly from Prize Picks. No-brainer if you ask me. Let's go ahead and jump back into these last 3 games. All right, we got my Boston Celtics, and I love this hat. I don't even know if you can get this anymore. Celtics 10.5-point favorites over this Sacramento team. Now, Sacramento, talk about a team that, has had its ups and downs for us. They were on the DNB graveyard right in the main headstone, which, speaking of which, Paul George, a little alone in the graveyard there. No one, because we've been doing fairly well, no one has truly, truly wronged us there. But overall, this Kings team has definitely wronged us in the grand scheme of things, but we've pulled them out. They've proven to us that they can be, touched again. I don't know why I use these words, guys. But one thing here to note is that De'Aaron Fox game time decision. That's massive. That is absolutely massive. I know I'm not breaking news to you guys, but going up against one of the best perimeter offensive and defensive teams in the Celtics, that is going to be huge to be missing your slashing point guard. And you throw in the fact that, maybe the Celtics, the way to try and score on them, now it's been a lot different since Kristaps has come back, but being able to get into the hoop, that's where De'Aaron Fox thrives as well. So I see why this is a 10.5-point, number, right? This is a spot in which the Celtics, if De'Aaron Fox does not play, the Celtics, they're pretty much playing a team that I think that they can ragdoll all over the place. So, no De'Aaron Fox. I lean the Celtics, but I will say with De'Aaron Fox, I don't know if I mind the Kings plus the points. I think De'Aaron Fox could, wreak some havoc, whether it's in the paint or from the perimeter. This is the type of guy that should be able to play fairly well against the Celtics team. And you look at his last couple games against the Celtics, 40 points and 40 points, I think 2 assists. Prior to that, it was 29 points, 3 assists. This is a guy that has had some good games against the Celtics in the past. So I'd look at De'Aaron Fox over points, rebounds, and assists if he does play. I'm just hoping that he does play, and if he does, he's not banged up, right? He's missed either 2 or 3 straight games, I want to say, and it's a hip injury, which you'd never want to see for a guy that likes to get to the hoop because he gets banged, and it's going to be oh, that's kind of tough. But if he does play, and they say he's healthy, maybe not in a minutes restriction, I don't mind, 10.5 points in the back pocket of the Sacramento Kings. If he doesn't, I love the Celtics. So, it's really coming down to Fox for me. So keep an eye on the injury report today. What we have from a total perspective, I think I like this regardless of if Fox plays or not. I don't mind the idea of a Celtics team total over. From what I've seen from this Kings team, and we've watched plenty of them this season, they will be able to beat you in the paint if they choose to. They are a very good in the paint defense. I don't think they get the credit they deserve for that because they've had such ups and downs, but obviously firing the coach, maybe they get to be a little bit better. They have been playing a lot better basketball. I didn't even mention, they've won 5 straight games. Now, they haven't played the toughest of competition. They've played a banged up Dallas team, Philadelphia, Memphis, who was also banged up, Golden State and Miami, right? They haven't played a team like the Celtics in a while, but overall point being is that they're still a very good in the paint team. The fact that the Celtics, are playing a good in the paint defense, they're probably how are you on the perimeter, which that ain't the forte of this squad. So I'd probably consider Celtics team total over 118.5 as well. I think that they can go out there and score, whereas the Kings, if they keep this one close, sure, it'll be more competitive. I love to see that. They can also probably up this tempo if De'Aaron Fox is playing. That'll help that team total over. But that's where I would look, kind of regardless of Fox plays. The only thing I have a concern there is there a potential for a blowout if Fox doesn't play, because again, I'm pretty heavy on that. If that's the case and we see Fox ruled out, I don't even mind a Celtics look at their first half score, which right now you'd have to get right around, I think it's 60 and a half, something like that. So that could be of consideration as well. Player prop wise, I didn't even mention anyone on the Celtics injury report, by the way, which is good because no real injuries to note. But Derek White should be back. They should be in full strength. Derek White would be where I'd target, potentially looking at his 3-pointers made. He missed last game, so hopefully he's got a little rest under him. And right now his 3-point line, I think, is at 2.5, which I think that's a decent spot. He had 6 threes last time he played the Kings. So Derek White over in threes could be a look as well. And by the way, we get comments sometimes of someone being stop touching the mic. I have a screen, so you guys are watching me right here, right? Then I have a screen, and then I have a screen right here. On the left side of my screen, the microphone's kind of in the way. So I don't know why I feel like I have to tell you guys that, but we've gotten enough comments of people being it's annoying when you touch your mic. My thought is, it's crazy that you're annoyed that I'm touching my mic. But just if it does annoy you, then that's the reason. I'm sure a lot of people are sitting there being I didn't even notice that you did that. But hey, you know what? I'm a man of the people. I want to explain myself overall. I'm not just sitting here being oh yeah, let's talk about Grady Dick. All right, let's get back into these games. All right, Chicago taking on Washington here. Chicago minus 11.5 at home. All right, let's right this ship here. Let's get back on track. Right now, Chicago obviously is a team in which if they can play fast, they can play well, but I don't trust them at 11.5 points no matter who they're playing against, right? And this Washington team will play fast with you. Now you flip over to the Washington injury report and Jordan Poole game time decision. Sarr is listed as a game time decision. They still don't have Sadiq Bey, Bagley, Holmes, Brogdon. Like, this team is super injured. Dosunmu is out for Chicago, so I guess that's somewhat worth noting, right? Like, that's a good piece for them off the bench or even when he starts sometimes. I think I do end up leaning towards Washington plus the points solely because, like I mentioned, like, Chicago is a team that if you can run on them, they would look pretty good. And Washington, for what it's worth, should be able to score in the paint. Like, this is a Chicago team that is allowing the most amount of points per game in the paint to their opposition. So, yeah, is it crazy? Sure, I'll sound the cycle alert alarm. It might be crazy that we're looking at a Washington spot here. And honestly, like, as crazy it is, potentially thinking about rolling with it. Because it's just a lot of points in my opinion. Now, the one thing, if you're on Chicago and you're like, how could I ever like Washington? Yeah, I see the path to Chicago too. This is a Washington team that is, I talked about the Bulls being bad in the paint. Washington is dreadful covering the 3-point line. The Bulls shoot a lot more threes than most teams in this league. In fact, last 10 games, second most from above the break. So sure, if the Bulls are hitting their shot and whatnot, they probably will have a decent game. But again, 11.5 points in an up-tempo game, and Washington keeping that game fairly close against the Sixers. Like, yeah, I just can't seem to mind 11.5 points. Am I crazy? Am I crazy for that? In terms of what I'd like from a player prop, I do think that there's potential to kind of target either Valanciunas or Kyle Kuzma. These are two guys that will take it to the restricted area, and that is what I want to target. If the Washington Wizards are going to keep it close here, it's going to come down to them scoring in the paint. Kuzma, his points line right now is at 16.5. This dude has been so cold to this number. He's hit the under in 7 of his last 10, and we like the over. Last time he played Chicago, which was recently, I believe he played only 22 minutes. And he had 5 points. He shot the ball 3 times. I don't know if he got hurt or something in that game, but either way, like, not the best look there for him, right? But I still like him in this spot. And then Valanciunas, like I said, could also be a little spot here in general. Joval, I think his line, I don't know if we have it out right now, but it definitely would be a spot in which I'd consider. I don't know if we'll get one. If Sarr doesn't play, I like that spot even more, right? Because then he's going to get even more minutes. That total's at 241. That's super high, but where's the defense going to come in this one? And we have 2 fast-paced teams, so I don't think I touch it myself, but screw it, I'll lean towards the over. All right, Denver taking on Brooklyn. This one is, I guess, similar to the Celtics one. It's kind of riding on an injury right now. Jokic is listed as questionable. Obviously, he's been out for a little bit here. Was it maybe 2 straight games, if I'm not mistaken? He's listed on the injury report. That's massive. Aaron Gordon listed as doubtful. So if Jokic plays, I actually think Denver could just smoke Brooklyn here. Obviously, look at the line. It's at minus 15, so I'm not like breaking any news to you guys. But Brooklyn's defense in the paint hasn't been phenomenal. That's where Denver's going to do their damage, right? So if they can get in there, I do think that they can smoke them. Brooklyn's also super injured. Bogdanovich, Cam Johnson, D'Angelo Russell, Cam Thomas, Watford, like all of these guys out. Their starting lineup is Ben Simmons. Great. You'll get 0 points and 42 assists from him. Keon Johnson, Williams, Clowney, and Claxton. Like, not exactly. I will say Claxton being in there helps their interior defense, but it's Jokic. If he plays, they should be good down there. That is just not a very good starting lineup, especially when you're looking at Russell Westbrook, Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr., Jokic, and then I guess Christian Brown. But, you know, this should be a spot in which Denver gets out to the races. Maybe the smarter play would be kind of what we kind of kicked around with the Celtics idea. To avoid any blowout potential or something like that, we could look at like either a first half spread, which would I think be Denver, minus maybe 6.5 right now, but also a potential look at Denver team total over in the first half. That's going to be right around 60, maybe like 58.5, which I don't think is all that crazy to me. Yes, they're not the fastest paced team, but I don't see where Brooklyn's defense is going to necessarily come from. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, maybe that's a look as well. From a player prop spot, I kind of already, leaked the script here. I like Jokic if he does play. I want to target anyone that gets into the paint. If Jokic doesn't play, I think a really good pivot would be Russell Westbrook. We don't have lines for him yet, but like Russell Westbrook without Jokic has been pretty damn productive. So, and think about that game against, was that their last game when they played the Celtics? Like Russell Westbrook had himself a game, right? So, no, they played the Clippers in between that, if I'm not mistaken. But even in that game, I want to say Russell Westbrook played fairly well. He had like 19 and 9, something like that. So either way, that's going to be my look if Jokic is ruled out. He'll probably, have his line jump a little bit, but a PRA line or something, maybe like a PR line for Russell Westbrook, I think could be a good spot as well. And guys, that is going to wrap it up for today's show. Kind of a weird one, but you know what? It's Friday, a little weird, like Tassos would say, Freaky Friday. But hopefully you guys did enjoy. If you made it this far in the video, go ahead and drop 30 down in the comments. Lets me know that you made it 30 minutes into the video, which I truly do appreciate. Like, you guys are absolutely awesome. I tell you guys all the time, and I'll tell you again, I don't take any of this for granted. 2025 is going to be the first full year of me doing this full time, which is super exciting. We went full-time March 1st last year. So first full year, even though last year was like most of the months. But anyways, guys, truly do appreciate it. Let me know in the comments by dropping 30 if you made it this far in the video. We'll catch you guys in the next one, all right? Peace out.